What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Redbeard's Garage, and we're continuing on with the Talon build. We did the windshield, front and rear windshield last time, and today we're going to be doing these lower doors to keep splashes down and some fender flares. So we're going to get on the workbench, show you what comes with the kit from Super ATV, and get it installed. Hopefully it's like an hour job. Don't know though, we never done it. All right, guys, so we have laid out on the table the 4-door kit of the polycarbonate lower doors. You can get these in a couple different styles. I went with just the clear polycarbonate. Now this stuff is 250 times stronger than glass. A rock bouncing off of it's not going to break it. Super strong, and it's made right here in America by Super ATV, which is awesome to know that we're helping to support the American workforce. It comes with all the brackets, 75,000 nuts and bolts. That sucked to lay out, I'm telling you. Just for like a 10-second shot, that was rough. But it comes with some of that really nice weather stripping. And so all this stuff is what you're going to get with the lower doors kit. This is our fender flares. They cut this and make this in-house as well. We actually got to go tour their facility and see them laser cutting this. And it's just awesome to know that everything on this table is made in America. So we got our brackets for these fender flares, all the nuts and bolts. So we're going to jump on the Talon, get these things installed. And like I said, it should be about an hour, and we'll be protecting our bodies from that sweet, sweet mud. First, we need to remove the 8 Phillip head screws on the inside of the door to release the outside door shell.
Got some mud in there.
Yeah, these doors will hold mud over time. And I highly suggest cleaning all this off before you put these on, because when we did the other side, some of this dirt fell off in between the bracket and the plexiglass, which looks trashy. So we're going to take this bracket and orientate it just like this. Set it on here. If you notice, there is an indentation right here on the door where the holes will be drilled, and then there's this channel right here. You do have spacers to go in this channel. So I'm gonna get it centered on this groove down here. Lonnie's gonna hold it, and I'm gonna drill 4 1/4-inch holes, just center. This does have an up and down adjustment. So now we're gonna use 2 long bolts, 2 spacers, and 4 washers, 2 lock nuts. 2 short bolts, 4 washers, and 2 lock nuts on this. We can bolt this in place, and then we have 3 we need to drill through the bottom and use the short bolts on as well. Start the bolts in this outside bracket, slide on 2 spacers, and then we can line them up with the holes. It's really handy having a friend here as well. This would not be fun by yourself. Let's get those hand tight there, lawn treesy. So now with that bracket bolted into place, like I said, this is 2 short bolts. This is the 2 longer ones with spacers behind it. You can see they've given us 3 holes to drill out down here and use 3 more short bolts on. Now we've got those holes drilled, we can stick 3 of the short bolts with a washer on each side and a lock nut. And then we'll have the bracket installed. So now we're going to loosely bolt the glass up with these 7 bolt holes here. You put the glass on from the outside, and then use a bolt and a rubber washer from the outside. Wash your lock nut on the inside. And before we put this glass on, we're gonna make sure to clean all this dirt off this door so we don't get a problem like we did on the opposite side. So this is going on just like this here. You can tell because if you line it up, you know, it makes sense exactly where it's gonna go. So we're gonna get this all loosely bolted. We're gonna bolt it tight enough where we can move it side to side. and then we can cinch them down once we test fit with the door shut and put our seal on.
Looks like it needs to come down something, right? Oop, too much. About like that.
Ready? So we have this weather seal, and we're going to make sure the bulb faces the vehicle. So we're going to start here, we're going to run it around all the way up to that upper corner.
Ah. Whew. Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, put some weight behind it when you're shoving that.
Perfect.
Real nice.
So now that we have the lower door installed and that weather seal all the way around, make sure it all seals up nicely, which it is. Now we can put the skin back on with the Phillips head screws. Just like on the front door, we need to remove 8 screws on the rear door to remove that outer door shell. Rock. So if you notice, this one has 2 indents, so we're going to use 4 of the spacers on this one. We just lay our bracket up, drill our holes just like the front one. Once they're all 4 drilled, we can slide those spacers in and get these lower brackets bolted up. So we're going to get this just centered on those openings and drill the 4 1/4-inch holes, put our bolts and nuts on. Yeah, the most satisfying part. You're like, oh, that's pretty clear. Oh, that's real nice. You can see how this polycarbonate is bent. The bend needs to go towards the outside. So this is the outer side of this. And we're gonna make sure to clean all the dirt off the inside of the door because it likes to fall and get sandwiched in between this polycarbonate and this metal bracket.
That's pretty dang close.
So what we found is before we can adjust this rear door, because it has more hard curves to it, we need to get the weather seal put all the way around on it and then do our adjusting, because you know it's easy to look and think you got a gap, but sometimes the gap needs, you know, played with a little bit to fit this, because this is super high quality seal. I mean, they spared no expense. So you can see we're catching right there, and it's wanting to push all that plastic in, but we have plenty of room up here. So we're gonna loosen this up, play with the little, get it lined up. So we can throw this shell on, then we can do all of our adjustment and sink this down.
Catching just a tad bit. It might not be in there.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's it?
Yep.
It's good back here.
Yep, let's go here real quick. That's it.
Beautiful.
So with these fender flares, we want the slick side of the plastic on the inside and the coarse side out. Of course, you can see that this is already like pre-molded to fit perfectly in here. So what we found is that there'll be a little bit of gap up in here, but we're gonna set this where we think it needs to go and drill these inner holes. And I'm using a 21/64 drill bit to use our push clips, and then we'll drill these here in a little bit. We'll just get these to get it lined up. We can do these 3 outers, and then we do bolts across the top. So now we got to push this into place, make sure we get that gap pushed up in there, and then we're going to level this out with the front fender. And then we have 4 holes to drill up through these fenders, and we have some nice aluminum washers. For the tops of the fender flares, we're going to be using a bolt and aluminum washer, a spacer in between the stock fender flare and the new one, and then a large washer and lock nut on the bottom side. Keep me lined. So we went ahead and put 2 bolts in this rear bracket. So you're gonna have a bracket on each side that you're gonna have to drill a hole for. But if you notice on this fender flare, we have our bolt holes around the edge, and we also have these 2 ones kind of in the center. That's what's gonna bolt to this bracket using 2 washers and 2 lock nuts. We're gonna cinch this down, then we can line everything up on our body and drill our holes just like on the front. So we're gonna have to remove this clip and replace it with a bolt. So we're gonna use a clip tool, get up under there, pry it out. And we can keep that because that'll work in our other spots on this chassis. So we got our bracket on there, and that bracket's gonna lay along the side of this bed area. And so what we're gonna do is basically set everything in there, and we're gonna line up on the rear right here to get a good 90 degree in this corner. So once we get that, we can start drilling our holes up and putting our bolts and spacers in.
Got it. Washroom. Yep. Yep.
zip it in. So last thing we have to do is drill into this bed area and put a bolt, aluminum washer, and steel washer and lock nut on. Yep. Here you go. You can get that done. Alright guys, thank you for watching today's video. This is a lot of fun. This is like a grown-ups Lego kit, and they turned out awesome. I may do some trimming to knock down just the size of these, but I know these might not look the best with 28-inch tires, but we do have some 32-inch tires to be putting on this, but that's at the end of this build series, because we do gotta do some beadlock wheels. But I think the fender flares made a huge difference, and the lower doors is the biggest thing. It makes it look so tough, being like, I don't know, I just love them. Super ATV, I gotta say, this is the highest quality aftermarket parts I've ever put on anything. Every part I've ever messed with in the past, whether it's for a car or a side-by-side or an ATV, always has to be tweaked. We had to tweak not a single thing to get these on there. It was basically bolt right on exactly like their instructions said. Like I said, now we got the lower doors. It's gonna keep the insides super clean. Just an awesome, awesome build. So make sure to check out the links in the video description. Huge shout out to Super ATV for sponsoring today's video and this build on this Talon. We have a ton of stuff located in the video description, and we have about 10 more videos to go. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go support Super ATV because they are helping us to give you this content. And we thank you guys, we love you, and God bless.